seed of light is planted for the righteous, a seed of joy for those whose hearts are true. Or Zaru ala Tzadik, V'leishrei lev simcha, page 204 in the middle. Please rise. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, Good Yontif. One of my rabbis and teachers, Rabbi Alan Liu of blessed memory, taught that in the Kol Nidre prayer, God calls out to the soul in a voice that the soul recognizes instantly because it is the soul's own cry. We may not have come here tonight looking for this, but here we are, present in our bodies, and suddenly our souls will hear the ancient yet familiar melody, and the soul jumps up and gives us the chills. What you may not have noticed is the introduction that comes before Kol Nidre on 204, where the cantor and the rabbi and the president of the synagogue act as a Beit Din, a religious court, and say, Al da'at hamakom ve'al da'at hakahal, by the authority of the heavenly court and by the authority of this earthly court, we hereby declare that it is permissible to pray with the avaryanim, the ones who have transgressed or crossed over. We try each year to throw away our transgressions like the ritual of Tashlich, but we are all still imperfect. We are avaryanim, ones who have crossed the line, imperfect ones. And so were someone to say we can't pray with the imperfect ones on the holiest day of the year, only those who are morally pure should pray with us now. All those other people, the imperfect ones, if we let them in, they might prevent our prayers from being answered. Well, in that case, there would be no one left to pray. There are no perfect, morally unblemished human beings. And whatever we thought we would do before Yom Kippur, whatever we wish we had done in the past year that would have been perfect, we arrive at Kol Nidre and realize it's too late. We can't return. We can only look behind from where we came and go round and round. The most important thing, though, to know as we enter Yom Kippur is that no matter how observant you are, how much you practice mitzvot, what type of relationship you have with God or the divine, whatever you call it, that what you've done over the past year, whatever it is, it's really a holiday of just showing up as you are. And that's why we wear white, traditionally don't wear makeup or perfume. We come as the purest form of ourselves. Also, I'm barefoot. I probably should have gotten a pedicure, but I think it'll work. And I'm also wearing a white robe, which is tradition on Yom Kippur. It's all about feeling like we are like the priest, the high priest in the temple, that goes into the Holy of Holies and asks forgiveness for the people. And also that we're facing our own mortality. Tshuva is not about being harsh with ourselves. It's about returning to our essence. If you look at the word teshuvah, it can be broken down into two words. Tashuv, hey. Return to the hey. The breath, the life force within us, the authentic part of godliness that flows through each human being. That is what we are returning to today. So whatever you have done, whoever you are, whatever you're wearing, come as you are. That is how you're supposed to come to Yom Kippur. I also have to mention that tonight our Torah procession was led by the Kahn family Torah. Where is it? Sue's holding it over there. That was saved from the gutter on the night of Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, when synagogues, Jewish homes, and businesses in Germany were broken into and set on fire. This scroll was later brought to our community many years ago by Harry and Irene Kahn and was recently dedicated in our synagogue. We recently discovered that this Torah was written in the 1700s, which was one of the many times in history that our people were forced to convert or die. These Torahs are here, and these people are here to bear witness to the fact that after all the persecution and assimilation that we are still here today, and we're ready to build the Jewish future and fulfill our mission of healing the world. And before we go into Kol Nidre, just a note that you'll notice that there are three different melodies coming at you. The first one from Lewandowski, which was the first one Cantor Silverberg learned, then Chazan Jack Kessler's version, and then Chazan Naftali Hirschtick, who passed away this year recently. And so in honor of those Chazanim that brought these versions of Kol Nidre. We're on page 204, and we'll be inviting in everyone to come as they are. By the authority of the court on high, and by the authority of this court below, with divine consent and with the consent of this congregation, we grant permission to pray with those who have transgressed. In the light of both Yom Kippur and Shabbat. Yom Kippur is called Shabbat Shabbaton, the great Shabbat, and it's also Shabbat. So we have a little extra light this year in our Yom Kippur and pouring into the rest of the year, and boy, could we use it. We often say on Yom Kippur, we say, Good Yontif, or Chag Sameach. And it's actually supposed to be not just the holiest day, but the most joyful day of the year, which people don't usually think about because of the fasting. But Why is it such a joyous day? Because God is forgiving us for all the mistakes we've made in the past year, and we get a clean slate, a total new beginning, the greatest gift anyone could ever have. Like a spiritual car wash for 25 hours. And this is an incredible source of joy for the soul to be cleansed. Yom Kippur is a day of the soul, not so much of the body. And that's the deeper meaning of why we fast, so we can experience the spiritual elevation. We're praying for our lives on Yom Kippur, asking God to inscribe us for a good year full of life. But why do we want to live? Why are we asking for another year? What are we going to do with it? Yom Kippur reminds us that why we are here, to be vessels for divine light in this world. We want to bring more goodness and holiness into this world through our lives and through our actions. So please, God, give us more opportunities to do this year, to bring more of your divine light into the world as these candles are being lit. To make this world the kind of world that you always wanted it to be, the way that it was intended to be from the very start. And that's why we're fasting, to cleanse the vessel that transmits that light, so that more spiritual light can come through us and into the world. We have our children up here as we're welcoming in the light of Shabbat. As we pray for this year to be a year filled with more light, was somewhat of a dark year, and we want this to be that it was just preparing us for something great. Kind of like when a child is being born, the contractions get more intense. Something great is being born. And so let's bring that light in of Yom Kippur and Shabbat. Bring that light in, that extra light of the soul. And cover our eyes as we say the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat v'Yom Tov v'Yom Kippurim, and also Shechianu, right? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu Lazman hazeh. And finally, we have the children up here. It's a special time to bless the children. We bless our children every Friday night, traditionally, and tonight is Friday night, but it's also Yom Kippur. And we can think for a moment about, as we look at the children, all of the blessings, all of the things that we want for our children this year in our community and for our own children and all of the children of the world. And so the blessing is on page 200, and we'll do a repeat after me, starting with the blessing for the girls, which is first in English. May God make you like, together we could do this part, may God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And for the boys, may God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. Repeat after me. Yisimech Elohim.
Yisimech Elohim.
Kasara Rivka.
Kasara Rivka.
Rachel v'Leah.
Rachel v'Leah.
Yisimcha Elohim.
Yisimcha Elohim.
Ke'Ephraim v'chi Manasseh.
Ke'Ephraim v'chi Manasseh. Yevarech Adonai ve'yishmerecha ken yehi ratzon. Yager Adonai panav
all of the children. May the Holy One bless and protect you. May the Holy One's face shine upon you and grant you kindness. And may God's face be lifted up to you and grant you peace. And let us say amen.
Amen.
Mwah. And now we're on page 206, the Psalm for Shabbat.
You may be seated.
We're going to be here a while.
Shana Tova, good Yantif, Shabbat Shalom. So whenever Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah coincide with Shabbat, it is a very extra special time. And just like on Shabbat when we receive an extra soul, on Shabbat, on Yom Kippur at least in particular, we get some extra melodies. And when I was learning, I always wondered, why is it that we sing this beautiful song at the end of Psalm 92 that is very major and happy and beautiful, and then we go into something else that doesn't feel like it relates, the music doesn't sound right, it doesn't relate to it. And that is because this melody was written in Germany, and in the German tradition, when we call everyone to worship on Shabbat, we do it in major, not in the minor that we do it usually here. And so here on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, we get to keep in this beautiful, major, happy day because it is the happiest day of the Jewish year. So this is something I've been working on for a long time, and I'd like to call it today an ode to Psalm 92. Tov lehodot l'Adonai ulezar meleshimcha elyon lehagib aboker chasdecha ve'emunadcha b'leilut alei asur v'alei navel alei gayon v'chinur kisimachthani Adonai b'fo'alecha v'masei yadecha aranein magalu masechaya me'aram kumach shevotecha. Alleluia, magalu masechayot me'oram kumach shevotecha. Alleluia. Yishba'alo yedahusil yavin hazahor Rifroshim demo hesel yatzivu como lehavel Rishom tamar ehav yatamaram Leolam Adonai Hinei oyevecha Adonai Hinei oyevecha yavedu Itpardu kovohale aven vatarem hirim kani baloti ata beiteni beshurai, bekamim alai bereim, tishma oznai. Please join me. Tzadikai ta'amor yifrach, keres balbanon, balbanon yizkeh,
Page 207, please rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed.
Be seated.
Adonai Tzevaot Shemo Echai V'Kayam Tamid Aleinu L'Olam Vaed Baruch Atah Adonai Amari V'Aravim Amen.
208. We're about to recite the Shema in a very special way that we only do once a year on Yom Kippur. And it's because in ancient Jerusalem, when we gathered on Yom Kippur on the Temple Mount, the climax of the day was when the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, would go into the inner chamber of the temple and cry out the unspoken name of God, Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh. The people would respond by throwing themselves face first to the ground and shouting, Baruch Shem, Kavod, blessed is the name of God's glorious kingdom forever and ever. The Shema and the V'ahavta also come directly from the Torah. So normally, when we say Baruch Shem Kavod, it's kind of an interruption of the normal flow of how it's not from that part of the Torah. And so we whisper it. But tonight we say it out loud because it's Yom Kippur, and we need to call on God directly by name. We say it out loud because today God's presence and oneness in this world is more revealed to us more than on any other day. When Moses went to heaven to receive the Torah from God, he heard the angels saying these words, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. And after Moses heard this, he brought it to the Jews below. Why is it not said out loud? Another reason, in the Midrash, Rabbi Asi says, it's as if someone took jewelry from the king's palace and gave it to his wife and told her, do not wear this out in public, only at home, so the king's people don't come and see it and take it back. This line was taken from the angels from God's palace, and so we don't say it out loud normally. However, on Yom Kippur, when we're all wearing white and fasting, transcending our physical bodies, we're more like the angels, and so we say it out loud in public. Baruch Shem Kavod. So we're now on page 208. Baruch Shemo. The cantor's going to say the Shema first by herself so you can hear the special melody, and then we'll say it all together.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Together. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'ozecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'eleh asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinanta levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha v'b'leftecha b'derech v'b'shofecha v'chumecha v'shartam le'odar yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha v'chatam al mizbezo beitecha v'b'sharecha. 209. Allow us, Adonai our God, to sleep peacefully and wake us to life. Spread over us your sukkah of shalom, and may we awaken to life. Page 212, we rise for Vishamru. And also, as we go into the Amidah, the silent Amidah, after the Chatzi Kaddish, just a reminder to add the parts for Shabbat, and those prayers will conclude on 222.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat la'asot et HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ידעי ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם היא ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נחש. היא ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתערו. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבו ויעלמן יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון ויומכון ובחייך בית ישראל בגדה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך לעולם ועלמי המיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתמע ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילא לעילא וכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה זמירה בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
213 for the silent Amidah. Please continue to daven at your own pace. If you're ready, we're on page 222.
Please rise.
And please rise.
ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, יבוש במקום מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני Eloheinu v'loi avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara, וחיי מתים במאמרו, המלך הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו, הבם רצה להניח להם, הבם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד וירא ופחד ונודה לשמו בחיום תמיד מאוד הברכות אל ההודעות אדון השלום מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי ומניח בקדושה לעמד ושני עונג זכר למעשה בראשית אלוהינו לאבותינו רצף נוחתנו קדשנו בעזותיך ונחגנו בתורתך סבנו בטובך ושמחנו בישועתך וטהר ליבנו לעובדך באמת והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך וינוחו וישראל מקדשי שמך ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Now call up our synagogue president, Jeff Potash. I think he's going to speak from here. Wherever you want. I just realized I have to get the Megillah honor thing.
You're going to have to hold it. Thank you.
welcome. A heartfelt welcome to all of our new members, to our lifelong members, and to everyone in between. Welcome, Jews by birth, Jews by choice, and to all non-Jewish partners and family members, welcome and thank you. Welcome LGBTQ members and others marginalized in the past. Each and every one of you belong here. At this moment, in these challenging times, we are together in simcha, joy, gladness, in self-reflection, and in community. In this, my third year as president, it remains a privilege to serve you. 2 years ago, while this congregation was still battling the scourge of COVID, I expressed appreciation to a relatively small in-house audience, perhaps 100 intrepid souls, at the prospect of our congregation's survival. In the face of what seemed an interminable building closure and the painful loss of personal contact with one another, we were resilient. Last year, I chose the portmanteau term, surthrival, a favorite of mine, to celebrate a 20% rise in our congregational membership, growing revenues, and the regular return of in-person religious services, educational, cultural, and joyful social events. This evening's term comes from the heart, gratitude. OZ's rebound continues with membership almost 50% higher than our COVID nadir. But there's something more, something palpable, something real. It is a spirit embodied in our smiles as we enter this building and greet one another. We are truly grateful that we can be together. We are practicing what Ron Wolfson references in his book, Relational Judaism, as, quote, the value of face-to-face community, of relationships that give life meaning and purpose, belonging and blessing. Each of us tonight knows why we're here. Everywhere in our home on a daily basis, I witness people smiling, chatting, introducing themselves to one another. It is a validation of what my parents taught me in seeing that the glass is half full rather than half empty. It is the spirit of determination, of striving to uplift, to validate, to encourage one another, as its foundation in our unique cultural and religious belief that our Jewish identity is grounded in the hard work of doing, of making the most of each and every opportunity, such that when we are done, our lives serve as a blessing, a model for others to follow, to emulate, to achieve goodness. What we are feeling and experiencing, life, is neither random nor accidental. What it reflects is our collective relief, our confidence that when we walk into this building, we are safe, we are nurtured, we belong, and we are home. For me, the spirit of gratitude extends to all those who bring life to this space. Our community is blessed with the presence of a dedicated and extraordinarily talented staff. They belong. And we are likewise blessed by an unprecedented number of volunteers who embody the spirit of selflessness and who dedicate an amazing amount of time and energy contributing to deepening and sustaining our community. Both our staff and our volunteers are aligned with our Imagine 2025, soon to be our Reimagine 3035 blueprint, our strategic plan that grounds this modern Jewish community on 3 pillars: religious, spiritual practice, cultural identity, and social action. These offer options and pathways through which all of us can find and feed our Jewish souls, nurture and sustain our Jewish identities, our values, our hopes. I begin with the greatest of all gratitude to acknowledge our senior staff. Thank you to our new and energetic clergy team, Rabbi Aaron Filmus and Cantor Jessica Silverberg. The religious and spiritual life of this congregation is flourishing, as evidenced tonight. It is evidenced in well-attended Shabbos and holiday services and weekly Friday Shabbos parties with our preschool children, which I encourage you at some point to visit, filled with music and dance. It is present in our Jewish Journeys Sunday morning junior congregation, and it is an ongoing collaborative outreach with other congregations. Thank you, Rabbi Aaron Cantor Jessica. To Brett, wherever you are. Smith, now our official executive director, for having a little more than in a year's time fixed almost everything that was broken during our COVID world and our COVID woes, and for being the soft-spoken and ever-reassuring presence for all of our diverse enterprises, for our staff, and for each and every one of us. To Naomi Burrell, our Director of Youth Education, whose vision for a new Jewish Journeys program, a welcome replacement to our dreaded and mislabeled Hebrew school, has almost doubled our numbers and led to innovative and meaningful ways through which our students joyfully embrace their Jewish identities. And for creating a teen Nadav program where our post-bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah teens remain connected with friends while making meaningful contributions in our kitchen, in our preschool, and throughout this building. To Ali Skoog, our new preschool director, who in the face of ongoing financial and staffing challenges that plague all Vermont preschools, continues to uphold Full Circle's preschool dedication to providing safety, joy, and exemplary learning opportunities that nurture our children's growth. And to Dana Sachs, who directs our Shuk, our meeting place of peace that fosters equity and self-worth, while gifting new Americans and others in need with high-quality clothing, housewares, and other essential goods. And last but hardly not least, wherever he is, the one and only Raul Guvar, our facilities manager for more than 40 years. Many of you know that Raul had planned to retire this December, focuses his attention on his family and grandchildren. But in the face of our ongoing needs, he has graciously agreed to temporarily stay on. His loyalty and his beloved place in this community is unparalleled. As one person described it to me, after creating Raul, the Almighty broke the mold. Once again, we, the OZ congregation, all of us are recipients of his caring presence. Beyond our staff, it takes a veritable village of volunteers to sustain the richness and vitality of Jewish life in our home. I apologize I cannot acknowledge each of you by name, but I can briefly share some illustrations of the diverse and exemplary ways in which our OZ volunteers, through formal committees, task forces, and individual initiatives, nurture the life of our hearts and our minds. Supporting our religious and spiritual leaders, our lay leaders who lane, they chant Torah on Shabbos, they organize diverse facets of our services, they lead meditations, they facilitate Vermont's only daily minyan, allowing Oziers and others the opportunity to say Kaddish and remember the blessed memory of loved ones. And supporting them is our fabulous Kiddush crew, numbering more than 24, whose delectable Shabbos luncheons are a weekly draw for growing numbers of young and old congregants alike to connect and to find joy. And so too, the Kiddush Committee's bereavement meals offer out-of-town friends and family a quiet and respectful place to be together. In that same vein, we have a vibrant cemetery committee whose dedication in maintaining, repairing, and most recently in cleaning gravestones upholds our dedication to preserving loving memory. Consider, too, the richness of cultural programming under the aegis of our Center for Jewish Life. There's our adult education group sponsoring talks, book discussions, memoir writing, it's easy for me to say, and more. And our newly created fun committee sponsoring everything from wine tasting, games, meals. Stay tuned, there's much forthcoming. We have musical concerts, regular showings of our renowned two Little Jerusalem treasures, our lost mural and our newly installed copper ark in the small sanctuary. We have a vibrant 20s, 30s group, and of course, we have the Queen of Mahjong and her entourage every Wednesday. And we uphold the name that our founders bestowed upon us, Ohavi Zedek, lovers of justice. Beyond our Shuk, our inclusion committee strives to make OZ a more welcoming space for all. A new Kalanu initiative spearheads the congregation's commitment to combat growing anti-Semitism in Chittenden County and beyond. And our Gemach initiative has produced and distributed hundreds of nutritious meals, all natural, all wonderful over the last 9 months to OZ families and others in need. There are many others, too, who are less visible, but no less important in the life of OZ, working in our house committee to maintain our properties, ensure security in these difficult times. There is our house, human resources, our membership, our finance committees, and my collaborators on the executive committee and on our board. To each and every volunteer, thank you. Thank you on behalf of this congregation. And for others not yet involved, consider the opportunity to make new friends. Deepen your sense of Jewish identity. Make a difference in this community. Visit our website, contact Brett, write to me. We will find any way we can to honor your volunteer requests. I'd like for a moment, though, to shift to a focus on our future. On Yom Kippur, we challenge ourselves both as individuals and as community to correct past errors in judgment and flaws in actions, and to strive to do better in the coming year. As I contemplate the future life of this congregation, I am struck by the momentousness of this moment. I believe it is historic. Now more than ever, we understand our vulnerabilities within a larger, sometimes hostile, sometimes indifferent community. And in the spirit of gratitude, we comprehend the depth of what it means to be in this home together in Jewish community across generations and across diverse interests. The historian in me, would argue that in our congregation's 140-year past, there have been two pivotal, two conscious moments of vision, moments of courage, during which leaders imagined themselves building a community that would last for generations. We were founded in 1885 by persecuted Lithuanian emigres who sought to uphold their Orthodox ways by recreating their Eastern European shtetl village in Burlington's Old North End. For those peddlers who dreamed that they and their children and their grandchildren could live a better life, their little Jerusalem village offered a secure home for 3 generations, together with bright opportunities for economic advancement and better lives. But that shtetl no longer suited the needs of a youthful generation in the aftermath of World War II. Their world had changed, and many envisaged a more modern Ohavi Zedek, one no longer rooted in traditional and old world Orthodox ways. In 1947, they invited a youthful World War II chaplain, Max Wall, to come to Burlington, a rabbi from the conservative movement. They neglected to tell him, mind you, until the ride from the downtown train station to the synagogue on Archibald Street, that theirs was not a conservative but an Orthodox synagogue. And yes, by the way, his sermon was to be delivered on Shabbos in Yiddish. On the ride back to the train station on Sunday, Rabbi Wall was telling us the story before he passed. He said he made it clear that he had no interest whatsoever in coming here. But in the end, with significant prodding from leaders of the conservative movement, he agreed to come with the understanding that his OZ would be recast in a modern mold. This building was his crowning glory, built on property whose protective covenant specified, quote, no Jews or blacks allowed, unquote. With the full support of his congregation, Rabbi Wall created a large Jewish community center in the true modernist style, then our avant-garde in the 1950s modernist architecture. It boasted a magnificent front entry that opened into a large and elegant marble lobby that offered direct access to our new egalitarian sanctuary where men and women could sit together and pray as equals. In addition, immediate access to our staff and rabbis' offices, all very orderly. A second modest side entrance in the back offered pickup and delivery to then our daily used Hebrew school classrooms, a small library, men and women's locker rooms, and the social hall many of you are sitting in, which originally served as a full court basketball court. Our court, incidentally, the envy of every other kid in the church league in Burlington. Didn't help us win games, mind you, but with new Jewish families, including my own parents who came in 1951, pouring into the city to work at UVM and IBM and other burgeoning businesses, a new OZ was born, an open and welcoming congregation. That spirit of acceptance became the cornerstone of Rabbi Joshua Chasen's subsequent quarter-century rabbinate, and it continues to define who we are to this very day. Tonight, I submit to you that we are no longer in a home that meets our current, let alone our future needs. So too, our current endowments, though growing, do not generate sufficient income to meet soaring staff and programming costs. I submit to you it is our turn, it is our time to exercise courage and commitment, to build our endowments and to ensure our financial stability. It is time to reimagine, too, our home, one in which we take pride, one in which our imagined vision is fully realized. In the weeks and months to come, you will be hearing about a major capital campaign that we will be undertaking to secure this congregation's long-term future as a vibrant, meaningful, purposeful, and blessed Jewish community center. At its heart are facilities that will allow us to fully live our most heartfelt Jewish values and our desire to be together. Most notably, in 1952, most congregant families had one single wage earner. Today, with both parents working, childcare is essential. At a time of great need and vulnerability, many children suffer. Our modern Jewish community center must bear responsibility for helping us, helping our own and others, fostering security, confidence, and personal growth. And it must do so in modern and not makeshift facilities. We can and will expand to meet the full needs of all of our young families by building an addition of 5 to 7 modern classrooms, each incidentally with its own bathroom, not insignificant, and warm and welcoming spaces. Education, as always, is integral to our Jewish values. Beyond that, we will have a new entrance in what now is the rear here on the side of the building, with an open courtyard for seasonal gatherings, greater parking options, modern office facilities, multi-purpose social hall with glass separations, a coffee lounge, classrooms with modern technology to facilitate online learning and connection with peoples across the globe, and a fully developed historical wing highlighting our lost mural and our copper ark with interpretive facilities that allow us proudly to share our community's historic presence and experience and significance. As we reflect on the challenges that confront us in this community, in this nation, in this world, we can, indeed, we must, cast aside any doubts we have about our capacity to sustain in perpetuity a model Jewish community center here in Burlington, Vermont. Our forebears planted a little Jerusalem. They funded our endowments. They gifted us this building, and they secured a home for us and welcomed us. As it is such, it is incumbent now upon us to lovingly dedicate ourselves to making a new welcoming home for others to nurture and navigate their personal Jewish journeys. Now is our time, L'Dor Vador, from generation to generation. L'Shana Tova, you will be hearing more on the capital campaign in coming weeks and months. May each of you and may we all together be inscribed in the book of life. Thank you.
So it is my honor to It is my honor to give the Myron Samuelson Memorial Ne'ilah honor to Linda Siegel. Now, it's not Ne'ilah yet. It's going to be, that's the end of the service, of the day, which I very highly recommend coming to. And she'll get the honor of opening the ark and having the first chance to have a private moment with God. The Myron Samuelson Memorial Ne'ilah honor is awarded yearly to a member of OZ in recognition of their commitment of time and energy to our congregation. I'm pleased to say that this year's recipient is Linda Siegel. Linda and her husband, Gil Mathis, are longtime members. In the early years, while their daughter Zoe attended Hebrew school, Linda served as co-chair of the library committee. After Zoe's bar mitzvah, Linda and Zoe taught Hebrew school for 2 years. In 2019, she retired from her full-time teaching job and joined the adult education committee, learned to chant Torah, and became a bat mitzvah here on the 13th anniversary of her 50th birthday. That doesn't sound right. Sorry. Okay. That's okay. On the 50th anniversary of her 13th birthday. That would be amazing. In March 2022, after the pandemic, we began to experience the full force of her energy, enthusiasm, creativity, and commitment. I think we all know that she's the famous Mahjong Queen. She instructed over 200 people from the greater community here at OZ, and through that has raised so far $19,000. Mahjong is now played here every Wednesday religiously, morning and evening, with the groups getting bigger and bigger, and there's more. She's chair of the Chevra Kadisha, where she coordinates and performs the Tahara ritual for women, preparing them for burial. She manages our annual food drive. She brought the Reverse Tashlich initiative to Vermont, where we volunteer as a group to clean up at the Pine Street Barge Canal. And she works on the Pride Seder. She fills in at the preschool and in the kitchen. She cleaned out our closets and files and set up offices for both of our clergy. Thank you. And finally, she was asked to chair the Fun Committee, which didn't exist before Linda, and she brings the fun. In that role, she arranged for pickleball in the social hall, planned and organized fundraisers, including a game night, a wine and cheese event, and a soup dinner to benefit the food shelf. And there's more fun to come. So thank you, Linda, for your time, energy, creativity, intelligence, kindness, and so much more. You are eminently qualified to receive the Ne'ilah honor, and we are very lucky that you are a member of our community. Thank you. All right, at this time we are ready to continue with our service. And we are on 223. This is the famous Piyut Ya'aleh, and it speaks of that we are beginning this work, this holy work, that will conclude with Ne'ilah. Very fitting, just gave out the Ne'ilah award. That we ask that our prayers rise up and then by Ne'ilah arrive at their destination. Page 22, 223.
יעלה מנוסה מערב ויבוא למענו מבוקר ויראה גיבורנו על הערב יעלה אישנו מערב ויבוא דורנו מבוקר ויראה חילוננו עד ערב יעלה זיכרוננו מערב ויבוא ועידודנו מבוקר ויראה חדרתנו עד ערב יעלה דרכנו מערב ויבוא הילולנו מבוקר ויראה בקשתנו עד ערב יעלה לקראתנו מערב ויבוא אליך מבוקר ויראה עינינו עד ערב.
225. Haneshamalach. The soul is yours, God. The body is your creation. Have compassion on your work. The soul is yours. The body is yours. Deal with us according to your nature.
הנשמה והגוף הלך חוסה חוסה המלאך הנשמה הלך והגוף הלך חוסה חוסה המלאך הנשמה הלך והגוף הלך חוסה חוסה
And continue on page 226. Shabbatenu b'tach shivmenu ma'amar Yeov vayikra b'shem Adonai V'yavor Adonai al panav vayikra
חטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורוב חסד ורוב חסד לך קורא.
227. This beautiful prayer shows that God is like an artist, and our life is a work of art that is fragile and can be broken if placed in the wrong hands. Well, let's read the first two stanzas together in English. As clay in the hand of the potter who thickens or thins it at will, so are we in your hand, guardian of love. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. As stone in the hand of the mason who preserves or breaks it at will, so are we in your hand, God of life and death. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. As iron in the hand of the blacksmith who forges or withdraws it at will, so are we in your hand, support of the poor. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. As glass in the hand of the glazier who shapes or melts it at will, so are we in your hand, partner of sin and transgression. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. As silver in the hand of the smelter who alloys or refines it at will, so are we in your hand, healer of wounds. Recall your covenant, do not heed the accuser. We repeat the 13 attributes of God's mercy that were heard at Mount Sinai when the people were forgiven for the sin of the golden calf. In the middle of the English, let's read together. The world is full of your glory. Adonai, where shall I find you? High and hidden is your place. Where shall I not find you? The world is full of your glory. I sought your closeness. I called to you with all my heart. And going out to meet you, I found you coming toward me. 232.
הורית לנו למה 13 זכר לנו היום בריש שלא הסרה כמו שהורתה לנא ככתוב, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתעטף עמו שם, ויקרא בשם אדוני, ויעבור אדוני על פניו ויקרא. אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, ארך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקי, וסלחת על עווננו וחטאתנו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחל לנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד ורב חסד וכל קורך.
Bottom of 232. On the top of 233.
כבד חטאינו ביום הזה וטהרנו כמה שכתוב. וביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהרכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתערר. הביאנו על קודשך ושמחנו בבית תפילתך, כמו שכתוב כי ביתי בית תפילה יקרא לך. אמן.
We rise as the ark is opened.
Shema Adonai Eloheinu, Hozir Rachem Aleinu, Aleinu. V'kabe berachamim, berachamim uvratzon, et tefilateinu. Hashivenu Adonai lecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kegedem.
Hashivenu Adonai lecha v'nashuva chadesh yameinu kekadem.
תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך תיקח ממנו.
אל תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו.
תשליכנו לצקנה בכלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו.
אל תשליכנו לצקנה בכלות כוחנו אל be seated. Page 234. Ki anu amecha. On Yom Kippur, and throughout the year, there are many, many different names for God. But on Yom Kippur, it is said we receive God's new name for this year, 5785. And in Jewish tradition, God is known by many names: rock, mountain, shield, parent, king, the place. This year we've come to know God through war and vengeance and fire and flood. What will we know of God this year? On this holiest day of the year, what qualities of God does your heart cry out for? We're on 234 for all these different varieties of ways of relating to God. Ki anu amecha.
Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu, Selach lanu v'chalanu, kabelanu, ki
Anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu,
ana vonecha ve'ata avinu, ana vonecha ve'ata adonenu, anu geholecha ve'ata Eloheinu, anu nachalatecha ve'ata goraleinu, anu zonecha ve'ata ro'einu, anu karmecha ve'ata notreinu, anu gehulecha ve'ata yoseinu, anu etecha ve'ata loveinu, anu segulatecha ve'ata gerobleinu, anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu, anu ma'amilecha ve'ata ma'amileinu, anu azevani ve'ata rachuvechanu, anu geshehore ve'ata erecha b'ayim, anu mlei avon ve'ata malei rachamim, anu yameinu k'tzelover ve'ata hu shnotecha lo yitamu, zava lefanecha tefilateinu, ve'atitala mitechinateina, she'eנחנו azifanim u'geshorev u'mor lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'Elahei Avoteinu, tzadikim anachnu v'lechatanu, ava anachnu chatanu.
235 for the Ashamnu.
Divanu dofi
237. No one has done all of the misdeeds on this list, Aleph to Taf, but we say we did them to remember that our fate is bound up with one another, and that our forgiveness comes to everyone, regardless of individuals. The word chet that we're saying as we strike our heart is usually translated as sin, but in Hebrew it means more specifically missing the target, that we were trying to aim at the target. Most of the time when we miss the mark in life and do a chet, it's because we let our desires, our emotional impulses distract our attention away from the target that we really want to aim at. Why does this keep happening year after year? How do we train ourselves to become more aware of these impulses that lead us astray when they're buried so deep and refuse to come to the surface? So some say we strike our heart because the heart is the power in the body through expressing its desires that causes us to do transgressions. Others say that it's a kind of knocking on the door of our hearts, calling upon us, like the shofar calls us to wake up, open up, and pay attention to what's really going on inside. Most of the time when we feel that heart aching crying out to us, we don't like that empty feeling, so we fill it with TV, our phones, Facebook, Instagram, email, other things we'd rather not talk about, all to distract and numb us from fully seeing and feeling what's inside of us. Ignoring our inner wounds does not make them go away. It actually makes them worse, and they come out to rear their ugly heads at the most inconvenient moments, leading us to lash out at the world and ourselves. So as you knock on the door of your heart, I invite you to notice whatever it is that keeps carrying your attention away from praying. What's eating you away inside? Notice it and name it. This distraction is precisely what you are here to become more aware of. So we're on page 237. שחטאנו לפניך באונס וברצון, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בביטוי שפתיים, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי רצתך, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדעת ומרמה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדיבור פה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בעונת רעה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהרהור הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבידוד צניעות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בווידוי פה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזדון ובשגגה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחילול השם, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטומאת שפתיים, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
We have sinned against you through denial and deceit, and we have sinned against you by taking bribes.
We have sinned against you by clever cynicism, and we have sinned against you by speaking ill of others.
We have sinned against you by the way we do business, and we have sinned against you in our eating and drinking. We have sinned against you by greed and oppressive interest, and we have sinned against you through arrogance. We have sinned against you in everyday conversation, and we have sinned against you through conspiratorial glances. We have sinned against you through condescension, and we have sinned against you through stubbornness. רכילות, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בצד הירח, ואחרי שחטאנו לפניך בצרות עין, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בקלות ראש, ואחרי שחטאנו לפניך בשור עורף, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך ברצות רגליים להרע, ואחרי שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בשבועות שווא, ואחרי שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בתשובת יד, ואחרי שחטאנו לפניך בתימהון לבב, ועל כל העם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו, ועל כל העם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, מחלנו, כפר לנו.
Page 240. You may be seated. We go through all the different names of our ancestors and how God answered each of them in their prayers, reminding God and reminding ourselves that God will answer us. Huya anenu misha'ana l'Avraham Avinu behar Hamoria. Huya anenu misha'ana l'Yitzchak benam כשנקר הגויים אז ויחיה עננו מי שענה לרבקה בהריונה הוא יעננו מי שענה ליעקב בבית הוא יעננו מי שענה ללאה בעלייה הוא יעננו מי שענה לרחל בעצבונה הוא יעננו מי שענה ליוסף בבית האסורים הוא יעננו מי שענה למילדות העבריות על האבניים הוא יעננו מי שענה ליוכבד על שפת היאור הוא יעננו מי שענה לאבותינו ולאמותינו על ים סוף הוא יעננו מי שענה למשה לחורב למשה הוא יעננו מי שענה למרים בלערה הוא יעננו מי שענה לאהרון
Eda Uya'anenu Mishe'ana Livnot Lachagad V'yamda Petach Oel Moed Uya'anenu Mishe'ana Lecho HaTzadikim V'HaTzadikiyot V'HaChasidim V'HaChasidot V'HaTimimim V'HaTimimot V'HaYosharim V'HaYosharon V'HaRachamanim V'HaRachamaniot Huya'anenu.
242 at the bottom of the page, this beautiful Chabad Nigun melody to this Aramaic prayer. Sounds a little different because it's in Aramaic, asking God, calling God Rachamana, the merciful one.
Rachamana de ane de ane le ani ane ane na. Rachamana de ane le ani ane na. Rachamana Rachamana de ane le ani ane no. Rachamana ane livele veo ane no.
So because it's Shabbat, we don't say Avinu Malkeinu, but we will say it at Ne'ilah, so you have to come back later and you'll get to hear it. But we are going to turn now to page 245 for Kaddish Shalem.
יתקרא ויתקרא שמי רבה.
אמן.
מעלמה דברי אחרית ויחכותי בחייך וביומך ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריבים. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם מעלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישבח ויתפאר ויתמר ויתנשא ויתהדר ויצלח ויתפאר שמי לקודשה. לעילא מכל בחצה ושירתה ותשבחתה ונחמתה זמירם בעלמאים. Amen. Kitkapa sotra varchon de Israel kodam v'chon nishmaya v'imru. Amen. Yehi shomaro b'amin shmai v'chayim al v'chon Israel v'imru. Amen. Oh, say shalom b'roma v'yaseh shalom al v'chon Israel v'chon yoshvei tevel v'imru.
Amen. 246.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית שלא עשנו כגוי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. שמעת השמיים והארץ עמו שמעת משכן הציבור כי המלכות שלך היא לא למצוותך בוא כפתו בתורתך אדוני לא לעולם ועד ולמען והיה אדוני לנלך כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We're on page 248 for the psalm for the season of repentance, Psalm 27.
Adonai Yori Vishimi Mehira Adonai Mosayai Mefad Mehrab Liberi Hekoi Vesadi
You may be seated.
שאלתי מאת אדוני אותה בקש אחת שאלתי מאת אדוני אותה בקש שבתי בבית אדוני כל ימי חיי לחזור בנועם בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום לחזור בנועם בנועם אדוני ולבקר בחלום. ולמנתי לראות ותיבנה בארץ חיים קבל אדוני חזק ויאמץ ליבך וקבל אדוני.
We turn to page 247 for Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דיברה כרותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Before we conclude, just a few brief announcements. Tomorrow we'll be meeting at 9 a.m. And there will not be a Kiddush tomorrow.
Darn.
I know, it's Shabbos. We should have Kiddush. So yeah, usually it's actually forbidden to fast on Shabbat, but not when it's Yom Kippur. It trumps even Shabbat. So we will be coming at 9 tomorrow. Also, a reminder, it's a custom to wear white and not to wear leather, or some interpret that to mean not to wear shoes. And if you have a medical condition, a reminder that you must eat and drink. That actually, according to our Torah, if you have a medical condition that you need to eat or drink, then it's now a mitzvah for you to eat and drink on Yom Kippur. So as you eat, you should know that you're fulfilling a great mitzvah, were you going to say something tomorrow about that?
I will make another announcement about that tomorrow. Yes.
Okay, great. Also, tomorrow at 10 to 11 a.m., there's a team conversation tomorrow, 10 o'clock, upstairs in the classrooms, led by one of our beloved and very talented Jewish Journeys teachers, Noah Burrell, on how do we effectively navigate consuming social media and posting in a way that doesn't compromise our morals. How can we react when we see something we disagree with, especially when it's posted by our friends? And also want to mention that the time is, it was changed, I guess, earlier today when we realized that it was a little bit too late to start Mincha. So we're going to be doing Mincha a little after 4. So at 3 o'clock, there'll be a class, some learning with Matt Bogle from UVM Hillel. And I don't remember the topic of the class, but it'll be
The
awesome.
topic of the class is talking about Israel on campus, I believe.
Israel on campus. So if you want to get an idea of what's happening today, he'll tell you about that. And so that's from 3 to 4. And you're welcome to stay here and hang out in the lounge, take a nap in my office, whatever you need to do. Go to the yurt, take a walk around the back in the trail. And then, so that's from 3 to 4 is that class, and then at 4, a little after 4, 4:00.
We've advertised at 4:05.
4:05.
Interpret that as you will. So if you're here, finish at 4, just come on back in here.
Where else do you have to go?
Yeah, really.
So we're going to have Mincha then, and the reading of Jonah, and the Torah reading, and then Ne'ilah. We have, there's 5 services for Yom Kippur. So Ne'ilah will be happening, and if you're moved by this service and tomorrow, I want to say that this is just the beginning, but you don't want to miss the end. Ne'ilah, the closing service tomorrow, it's like, if you leave, it's like leaving before the last set at a Fish concert. You're not going to want to miss it. There will be a chance to go before the ark and have a private moment of prayer by yourself or with someone you love. There will be Ne'ilah Mosh Pit. We'll push the chairs aside so we can all stand together. And then, of course, if people need to sit, they absolutely should sit.
Well, it's a Fish concert, isn't it?
Right, yeah, like a Fish concert. You can dance, too. Actually, there's going to be some dancing. There'll be, the great shofar blast, Tekiah Gedolah. And when we get to L'Shana Haba'ah, next year in Jerusalem, we'll dance and sing joyously with whatever strength we have left. And it really is incredible. It's sort of you take all of the energy, the spiritual power and light from this holiday, and it just lifts you up at the end. And then a brief but very moving Havdalah with some glow sticks for the kids, and a breakfast meal that is sure to be the best tasting bagel and kugel that you will eat all year. And are there any other announcements?
The only announcement I will make is that if you are unable to be here for Ne'ilah and you're relying on the times on the website, you should know that at least right here in Burlington, and this location, Yom Kippur officially ends at 6:56 p.m. tomorrow. So use that information as you will. That's an excellent question.
Yes.
So my estimation is that Yisker will probably be around 11:30. I expect that we will get to Torah service by 10:30, if that is a helpful marker. Unfortunately, as this is my first year, I don't have it all timed out exactly. So, and our times are all shifted this year because we're so late in the fall. So, either way, if you're here by if you definitely show up sometime around 10:30, 11, you'll be here for Yisker. Good question.
All right, well, we are ready now for Yigdal on page 250.
Yes.
With the special high holiday melody.
Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishtaba nimtza b'yenes ha'metziuto echad v'yachid keichado le'nad v'gam mitzof le'achduto ein lo tamut haguf ve'ein lo guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato kadmon l'chol davar asher
ראשון וראשית לראשית טוב, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו מלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמושהו, נביאו בבידת אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו, היה נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יכל לפעל ולא ימד דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופן יודע שטרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקנאתו, גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפתור מחלקי קץ ישועתו, מטיח האל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדעה שתהילתו, מטיח האל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדעה שתהילתו.
And let's just practice this greeting for Yom Kippur. It's slightly different. We've already been written for life and for good health and blessings, but now we just want to be sealed. And so we say, in English, let's say to the person next to us, may you be sealed for a good year. And in Hebrew, L'shana tova techatemu.